There's a moment in every woman's story where everything shifts, and it's not the moment you argue with her, or when you threaten to leave, or even when you raise your voice. It's quieter than that. It's subtle. It happens when you stop giving her the energy she's used to, when you stop being available in the same way, when your texts start coming slower, when your tone changes just slightly, not rude, not angry, just calm and distant. That's the shift that unsettles her more than any argument could. Because arguments mean you still care. Arguments mean you're still invested enough to fight. But when you stop fighting, when you stop explaining, when you stop trying, that's when she feels the walls closing in. It's not the noise that gets her attention, it's the silence. And that silence isn't just empty space. It's loud. It speaks volumes. It says, "I'm done trying to make you see my value." And that's when everything inside her starts spinning, because she's not used to that. She's used to being chased, used to being the one with options, used to holding the emotional upper hand. But now she's faced with the reflection of her own behavior, and that mirror isn't flattering. Women don't panic when you argue. They panic when you stop. They don't lose sleep because you yelled. They lose sleep because you didn't respond. And in that quiet, she's not just wondering what you're doing, she's wondering who you're doing it with. That's where the insecurity creeps in. That's when the panic button gets pressed. And that's when she starts realizing that maybe, just maybe, she misplayed the game. Because when you unplug, you take away the very thing she was relying on, your attention. At first, she tries to act like nothing's changed. Her ego won't let her admit that she feels you pulling away. So she plays it cool, sends you a cute meme, laughs at your jokes like everything's fine, maybe even throws in a flirty selfie just to test the waters. But deep down, she knows. She can feel the shift. The emotional connection she used to take for granted isn't there anymore. That warmth you used to give her effortlessly, it's distant now. And that's when the questions start flooding her mind. Why isn't he calling me like before? Why does it feel like I'm putting in more effort now? Why am I starting to feel like I'm chasing him? That's the part that messes with her most, the chase flipping. She was so used to you chasing, pursuing, keeping her at the center of your attention, and now she feels like she's the one refreshing the chat, wondering why you didn't reply right away. That shift alone shakes her confidence to its core. Her entire identity around the connection was built on the assumption that you were more invested, that you would always be the one trying harder. But now she's the one caught in that emotional limbo, wondering where she stands with you. And her mind doesn't stop there. It starts writing stories, creating scenarios. Did he meet someone else? Was I not enough? Was all that attention fake? She won't say it out loud, not yet, but you can feel her energy shift too. Suddenly, the playful teasing feels a little forced. The cute posts feel more like fishing for validation than just sharing her life. And in that subtle unraveling, you start to see who she really is when the attention isn't automatic anymore. This is where things get interesting, because her next move reveals everything you need to know about her emotional maturity. Some women, when faced with this kind of emotional detachment, start to panic in subtle ways. They won't come out and say, "I miss your attention," because that would feel like admitting defeat. Instead, they'll start dropping breadcrumbs. She'll post that slightly thirstier picture on her story, caption it with something indirect but suggestive, hoping you'll slide up and take the bait. She'll mention you in random conversations with mutual friends, just loud enough for it to get back to you. Or she might casually text you something like, "We haven't talked in a while, huh?" acting like it's no big deal when really she's trying to reel you back in. The thing is, most women aren't obsessed with keeping you. They're obsessed with knowing they still could. It's not always about love or deep emotional connection. Sometimes it's about control, about knowing that if they wanted to, they could have you back in their orbit. But when you don't respond the way she expects, when you don't validate the selfie, When you don't ask why she's acting distant, when you don't chase, that's when the obsession truly begins. Because now you're not just a man she used to talk to, you're a mystery she can't solve, and the human mind hates unsolved puzzles. That's when she starts overthinking everything. She replays the last few conversations, analyzes your tone, wonders if she said something wrong, questions if she was too emotional, too distant, too cold. And without realizing it, she's handing you the power, not because you forced it, but because you chose your peace over her approval. That's what really gets to her. The real trigger for a woman isn't your anger. It's your indifference. Anger still means you care, still means you're emotionally invested enough to fight. But when you stop reacting, when your tone is calm, your replies are short, and your vibe says, "I'm already gone," that's when her ego takes the hit. She might act unbothered on the surface, might throw out a casual, "it's whatever," just to save face. But inside, she's scrambling. And here's the part that most men miss. When you go silent, when you stop explaining yourself, that's when she finally starts noticing the weight of your absence. Not because you left, but because your emotional energy isn't orbiting her anymore. That's when the games begin. She'll test you, try to stir up a reaction. Maybe she brings up another guy just to see if you'll flinch. Maybe she picks a fight over something small just to feel your emotional presence again. Or maybe she disappears for a few days herself, hoping you'll be the one to break the silence. But when you don't, when you stay grounded, calm, detached, that's when the panic really sets in. Her whole game relied on your attention, and now that it's gone, she's starting to feel something she hasn't felt in a while: powerless. And that power shift doesn't just make her question the relationship, it makes her question herself. She starts wondering if she was ever really in control, or if you were just letting her think she was. And that thought alone can drive someone into obsession. Because now you're not the predictable man she could manipulate with affection, distance, or passive aggression. You're something much harder to grasp, peaceful, unaffected, and already building a life where her presence is optional, not essential. And here's the part that separates the men who truly grow from those who just play games. You don't fake this kind of detachment. You don't pretend to be over it while secretly checking her stories, waiting for a text, or hoping she notices your silence. Real detachment is quiet, steady, and most of all, genuine. It's not about revenge. It's not about making her regret anything. It's about finally valuing your own peace more than her temporary attention. And the moment she feels that, really feels that you're not playing, that's when everything shifts. If she's emotionally immature, she might double down on the games. She'll use jealousy tactics, delayed replies, mixed signals, all to see if she can still hook you. But if she's evolved, if she's grown, this is the moment she'll reflect. She'll realize that what she lost wasn't just your attention, it was access to something rare, your energy, your presence. The grounded masculine calm that made her feel safe even when she didn't fully appreciate it. And that's what cuts the deepest. Not your absence, but what your absence represents. It represents a door closing. It represents a man who no longer needs her validation to feel complete. And the truth is, some women will never admit that's why they spiral. They'll frame it as your fault, call you cold or distant. But deep down they know it was their inconsistency, their entitlement, or their inability to appreciate stability that brought this on. And by the time she fully realizes what she lost, you're already gone. Not bitter, not broken, just better. And when you reach that place, you don't need closure, explanations, or revenge. You have something far more powerful: peace. And peace is the one thing they can't manipulate.